Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Tatiana, Confessions of a Slavic Girl, and today I just want to share with you my experience of what it's really like to grow up as an Eastern European woman, and I just want to show you a different side of things. There is this narrative online that Eastern European women are very confident with high standards, high values, and that you just don't want to mess around with an Eastern European woman. And partially that's true. But let's discuss how do we become like that and how are we being raised in our society. So from an early age, the system that was being raised in, I'm gonna be like Prince Harry and say the system just to make it sound cooler, but I'm just gonna be referring to the system as the family and the society because it's interconnected in this case. And don't get me wrong, I do love this narrative online about the fact that Eastern European women are being raised independent with high standards and high values. And this is true, but it's not as easy and glamorous as it's portrayed online, because most of the girls, most of the women in this society, in this system, are not being raised to be independent and are not being praised for being independent. I never was. On the contrary, women most of the time are taught to be convenient. They're taught that you need to cook, to clean, to be more of a supporting role rather than a partner itself. And this is the example that I witnessed, and I never agree with that. I saw that it never brought happiness to anyone, and still people would try and brainwash me, the system would try and brainwash me that this is the way, this is how it's supposed to be. But when I would ask the question that why, if it does not make anyone happy, there is no clear answer for that, unfortunately. I try to understand, because I'm a person that if I don't understand something, I cannot agree with that. But I grew up more with the idea that a woman is supposed to be a service provider for the man, because the man is the man, and you can't even question, yeah? Because he's the man here. Patriarchy in Eastern Europe is a wild, crazy thing, to be honest. As a young woman, you're not really allowed to question things because patriarchy does not allow you to. Because how dare you? If I told you that it's supposed to be like this, then it's supposed to be like this, and you're still a kid and you're not supposed to ask questions, and I'm not supposed to give answers to you. This is the narrative that most women are being raised with. And this is sad, to be honest. So from an early age, my father would always tell me that I need to spend time next to my mother, that I need to learn how to cook, I need to learn how to clean, I need to learn how to be a good daughter, a good woman, a good wife in the future, and a good mother in the future. But no one tells you that these things alone are never gonna make you happy. These things are not preparing you to be someone's partner, they're preparing you to be someone's service provider. And on top of that, you're being taught to be obedient, to be convenient, not to ask too many questions, not to be too uncomfortable, not to be too big for someone, or not to shine too brightly for someone, to be independent, but to a certain extent. Your independence doesn't need to make someone else uncomfortable. If you understand, you understand. And this independence, a fake independence, because no one wants you to be truly independent and happy. They want you to be on the edge of still being able to control you. This is the system that I was raised in. This is why I left early. I left when I was 13. I went to boarding school to England. It was the best decision in my life. I'm probably gonna do another whole video about this. But from an early age, I just knew I had to leave that toxic dynamic. I didn't want to spend time in that house. I didn't want to listen what am I being taught, because it made no sense for me. And I cannot agree with something I don't understand, and that I clearly see that the result is not something that I want to do with my life. My whole life I was fighting against the system, that I was being told that I want too much, that I just don't want to be a normal person and live like a normal person. But my question is, what is normal for you? In this society, normal is when your dream life is just to get married, to be someone's maid, and to have babies. No, don't get me wrong, I've seen families with the narrative that you see online, you know, the strong father, the very respected and strong mother as well. And this is the example that you want to follow, and this is the example that when you see at home, you just cannot afford to do anything else, because when you've clearly had an amazing example at home, I mean, come on, like, there is no way that you can get it wrong. On the other hand, when you had it wrong at home, you understand that you either change something or you're gonna be living your whole life under the patterns that someone else wants you to. At some point, I did try to have a relationship with all the things that I was being taught in mind, and I was doing everything. I was being the perfect girlfriend. I was cleaning, cooking, enduring, being silent, and it just did not end well. It ended with emotional and physical abuse, which is exactly what I saw at home. And when I went to my family for protection, I was being told that it's my fault. So someone else was physically and emotionally abusing me, and it was my fault. This is all you need to know about the system. It's your fault as a woman, because you should have known better. But no one teaches you how to know better, but then they expect from you. Very interesting. So the system has a very long list of what a good woman is supposed to do. Be supporting, be patient, not ask too many questions, and many other things. But when it comes to stability, when it comes to security, money, the tone changes very, very quickly. When it comes to all of these things, you're suddenly too uncomfortable, too demanding. You want too many things. Very interesting, right? No, a good woman doesn't ask these questions. A good woman doesn't demand things. You're supposed to do all of these things for free with a smile and say thank you at the end. Because this is your role as a woman, to be the service, to be the supporting role for the patriarchy. When I talk about patriarchy, I don't talk about men versus women. I talk more about the system that benefits from a woman staying silent, because this is what is happening in the Eastern European society. And women are being shamed when they try to revolve, when they have the courage to say, no, I want something different for myself. And you know what the most dangerous part about this thing is? That the system from the outside, it doesn't look violent. It's portrayed like it's tradition. It's portrayed like this is how life is supposed to be. And you cannot question that. But when a system teaches a woman how to sacrifice herself, how to shrink her needs, how to accept less, that does not teach you how to create a happy family. And it does not create a happy family. It creates resentment and it creates tyranny, which is then called tradition and family. I was always told that if I'm gonna be too loud, if I'm not gonna be able to cook, if I'm not gonna be able to clean, if I'm gonna go against the man, who is gonna want to marry me? Because this is the end goal in the society. You have to want to marry, to serve, and to have babies. The society, the system expects you to do all of these things again for free and to call it love. And not to ask for any protection, not to ask for anything. And to say thank you at the end. Very, very convenient, I must say. I did prove my family wrong, because I did get married very quickly to someone who after 2 months came to me with a graph ring, and we weren't even dating. I did no cooking, I did no cleaning for him. Just a good point, because they were always telling me that no one is gonna want to marry you if you're not gonna do these things. My dad would always tell me, why would a man want to marry you if you're not gonna take care of him? You need to learn from your mother how she takes care of me. You need to take care of your future husband, of your man. The fact that my mother is living an unhappy life, he doesn't care about that, clearly. Unfortunately for my family and for everyone who surrounding me wanted to control me and to manipulate me somehow, I'm an empathetic person and I just feel energies, I feel emotions, I feel shift in moods. I just feel stuff and I feel people. I feel their intentions. And basically, unfortunately for my family, I sense bullshit. It took me a lot of courage to walk away from the things that I was taught to accept for my whole life. And there just comes this day when you say enough is enough. If I'm not gonna choose myself, no one else will choose me. Because society and the system, again, they teach you to be convenient. They teach you to be small and for them to be able to control you. And they don't like it when you suddenly decide that you actually want to be independent and that you allow yourself to want something else, not what people expect from you, but to explore, to find out who you are, to just do things out of pleasure, but not because the system expects it from you. Now you see why Eastern European women are being portrayed as very strong and independent with high values and high standards. Not always because of a very good example at home. On the contrary, the percentage of those families, I'm gonna tell you, is very small. It is because most of us just got tired of serving someone else's interests, of living by someone else's patterns, of accepting things that you don't want to accept. And it's the best thing, once you reach that point, you just stop tolerating bullshit from anyone. You've done it for so long that you're just never going to accept it anymore. Choosing myself and not following someone's visions was the best decision ever, and I am here to share my experience to motivate you guys to do the same, because the freedom that you experience and the happiness that you experience once you just stop playing by someone else's rules, I cannot even explain it to you with words. You have to feel it, and let's be on this journey together.